Alright, hey everyone, it's Jeremy Noel Johnson here, and I just got done watching the presidential debates on YouTube, the recording of the presidential debates, and I'm sitting here trying to see if I have an opinion one way or the other. I find myself more confused and asking questions than anything after watching these debates. The only conclusion I have, I think, is that Barack Obama is going to get reelected, and that's just because that's the feeling I have. I heard a lot of buzzwords and terms being thrown around, talk about spending, the debt, military, healthcare, seniors, younger people, and uh, I find myself just very confused, so much that I decided to write an article on my website about it all. And I think in order to understand it more, it's going to take time and research trying to understand numbers, and I'm not even sure that one can really understand it because I think the world's so dynamic, things change, events happen, that can you really predict the details of what's going to happen over the next 4 years? So I think regardless of, I think it's great that we have the ability in the United States to at least debate and talk about how the country should be structured, how things should be. At least we live in a country where there's not some, evil king with a whip, enslaving us all. At least that's not the feeling I get. Hopefully no one has that feeling. I don't get that feeling. I feel like we live in a country with great opportunity if you're willing to work hard, learn new skills. There's jobs and opportunities available to earn money, which allow you to live a decent life. So some of the things that I wrote about that I think each of us can do independent of all the talk that's going around with the presidential election, things that we by choice can do in our life are as follows. One, I think we can be curious about life and curious about people. It's interesting that we live in a world with billions and billions of people. I find that fascinating. We're on this floating sphere in outer space that's traveling around the sun at 30 kilometers per second, and it's spinning around really fast. And we live in this universe with probably billions, if not trillions, of galaxies. Isn't that fascinating? That we're on this floating sphere in outer space, at least as far as we can understand outer space. That's fascinating to me. Somehow all these billions of people are alive on and living in this world, albeit I know there's suffering and there's problems, but still, I find it all very fascinating. I think the more curious we are about trying to understand the world we live in and other people, I think the more we are able to have a good life and to influence what's happening. But it's hard. You have to try and understand why people are doing things and what structures are in place. A lot of things are in place that I have had no influence on. They happened before I was born. The United States had the War of Independence hundreds of years before I was born. I had no direct impact on that unless I was some kind of ghost or spirit influencing events, but obviously I don't feel I had any direct impact on that. Technology and medicine have all been improving independent of my influence, even today. And so I was born into the world in 1977, and here I am, sort of inserted into this world through birth, and I'm a conscious human being as far as I know. And I get to take part in this grand thing called life, and I get to watch people and listen to people and do things that I think are interesting and try to get the most out of life and understand life to the best of my ability. I get to meet new people, I get to try new things, and I thoroughly enjoy doing all of those things. And I think the more curious you are, the more interested you are in other people, the more fascinating life is, and the more influence I think you can have, because as you understand people, you can start to notice patterns and trends with people and start to offer things that might help them. So I think that's great. Another thing is, the world is largely driven by an economy and a marketplace, and that is the businesses and jobs that are available. And what I mean by this is, for instance, I can go down to Walmart right now, and in a few minutes I can go get diapers for my children, buy food, buy ice cream, buy cereal, all these things that are provided by companies. and businesses that if I had to make on my own, it would be pretty difficult. There's no way I could learn by myself how to make all the things available to me, from food to clothing to tools. And so we live in a marketplace where there's businesses around that provide all these things. Yes, it costs money. That's the currency of the world. In the United States, it's the dollar. So the more dollars you have, the more you're able to partake in the businesses, in their products and services. And to get that money, I think you just look at where people are paying money. I mean, a company or business that's making diapers, that they're not just appearing out of thin air. There's workers who are doing research and actually making the diapers, and they get paid to do that. And then there's managers and a CEO of a company that helps run the whole thing to make it more efficient, and they're getting paid money. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to insert yourself into an existing business with skills, or to even start your own business using skills to maybe do a better job than businesses that are out there, and to have an opportunity to get paid more. And it's competition. You don't just sort of start an idea and everyone flocks to you. You've got to go out there and persuade people and do a good job and have a little luck. And that's the opportunity, I think, is you have to work hard and build skills to get more money than what you have right now, which will allow you to partake in more products and services that are available. And I think that's the simple, basic rundown of the world economy and marketplace, is that there's opportunity to get paid more through increasing your skills and ability for different positions. I'm a web developer right now for an internet company, and it pays pretty good. And if I didn't have that skill, I wouldn't be able to go in and get the pay I do. And it goes for other jobs. If I wanted to become a CEO, I've got to work really hard, and I've got to compete really hard if I want to do something like that. But the reward and the payoff is extremely high. I also think that each of us needs to take personal responsibility for ourselves and do the best we can with what we have. I think I was born in pretty favorable circumstances. I was born in a upper middle class home. Always had enough food and clothing and shelter. Never really wanted for things growing up. And I know others were not as fortunate. And I think there's not only the personal responsibility we need to take for ourselves in our curiosity and our learning and our competing for good value in the marketplace of the world, and our own health and nutrition and how we take care of our bodies so that we're able to live a good life. But I also think that we have a responsibility to others who maybe didn't grow up in as good an environment. There's people that grew up in poverty who maybe didn't have the access to the knowledge and education about certain things that maybe would give them an opportunity. And so I think the internet, I think, is one way to give back to that, which is why I have a website and blog, so I can share the things I've learned. And hopefully, as more people get access to the internet, they can take a look at that and maybe glean some things from what I'm saying that help them make a decision or go on a path to a gaining skills for a better paying job, which will give them more money, which gives them better access to medical care and products and services, or they could use that money to start a business. But it takes hard work and effort and a desire to do that. So after listening to the presidential debate, I think Obama's going to get reelected. I think when it comes down to, I think more people feel personable to him and that he's trying to take care of them. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's more the emotional feeling that I think he's giving off. And so my final thoughts is, it's great we're having these debates. It's awesome. Get curious and try and learn as much as you can. I think there's a lot to learn. I don't have all the answers about them, except that I know I'm going to do the best that I can to provide service and value, increase my skills, and help other people where I can, and to just get the most out of this life that I can. As far as I know, you only get one life. Why not get the most out of it that you can? So these are some thoughts from me, Jeremy, about the presidential debates from 2012. I hope that something I've said here has been helpful, and think about it yourself. Come to your own conclusion. See what you can do in your life to get the most out of it that you can. Thanks for listening.